Stay around me. Right, hello, good morning, well, good afternoon, should I say, everybody who's joining me today for Pilates. So, my name's Karen, if you haven't done my class before. So, remember, you do it at your own risk. If you have any injuries at all, just please make sure that you listen to your bodies, don't do anything that you feel you shouldn't be doing. Rest anytime you need to, and if any of the exercises don't suit you, you don't need to do them. So, all you need is yourselves, your mat, possibly a block, like a Pilates block or a yoga block if you've got one. If you haven't got one, you could use a cushion or a folded up towel, which is about that same height, maybe a couple of inches deep, just to put behind the back of your head when you're lying down on your back if you need to support your head. Some of you might want to just have a folded up towel to put just behind your lower back. If we're seated, we're doing some little roll downs and that will give you your back support as well. Otherwise, you don't need anything at all. So we'll do a standing warm up first of all, just so we can start to move the spine in all different planes of movement, getting us nice and warm, and then we'll go down onto the mat. So setting ourselves up in our standing neutral position, just making sure that the heels are directly underneath the bony parts of your hips. So your legs are parallel. Just look down at your feet, make sure they're facing forwards. Lift your toes off the floor, spread them nice and wide, and then press them, keeping them wide down onto the mat. So you've got that nice base of support underneath your feet, just a little bit of softness in your knees. Lift your chest, feel your chest rise in front of your shoulders open, and soften your ribs down towards your hips. So try and tuck your chin in very slightly so your chin's more or less parallel to the floor. Let's just make sure our pelvis is in that neutral position. So maybe just put your hands on your hips, tuck your tailbone under, and then tip it up towards the ceiling. Just do that a few times each way. So just tipping and tilting the pelvis, keeping everything else really nice and still. And then just find that position in between, so you're settled, so your pelvis is nice and level and square. So now we need to just focus on drawing in the abdomen, so just feel that space in between your hip bones, feel it tighten, and as we just feel the abdominals pulling in and lift up. So you've got that support there, shoulders away from the ears. Now let's take a nice big in-breath, breathe in through your nose as you float your arms up towards the ceiling. And then as you breathe out, reach your arms wide to the side and bring them down. Breathing in through your nose, try and breathe wide and deep into the sides and the back of your rib cage so you can keep that connection to your core. Let's add a heel rise. So if you can, just lift your heels off the floor as your arms reach up. And then take your arms wide to the side as you lower your heels. Just coming into that standing balance, lifting up. Try and make sure the weight's even across the front of your foot. And so we can keep balance, keep the legs hip distance apart. Now take the arms wide to the sides and up towards the ceiling as your heels lift off the floor. And then take the arms wide as you lower your heels. Just feel your shoulder blades glide down towards the base of the spine. Let's take them wide to the sides again, up towards the ceiling, lifting up nice and tall. If you can, just keep your heels lifted and reach your arms wide to the side and slowly bring them down as your heels come down. From there, breathe in. As you breathe out, let your chin fall towards your chest. Let's do a spine roll, forward flexion of the spine. Watch your backs here. If you've got back issues, bend the knees, or you can even slide your hands down your thighs. Otherwise, ragdoll arms, just letting the arms hang. Hips are over your heels. Breathe in as you breathe out. Use the abdominals. Pull your abdominals in, just letting the arms hang long and heavy as we restack the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Let's go again. Breathe in as you breathe out, chin to chest. Let's come down. So it's like you're drawing a line with your nose down the midline of the body. So your top of your head is pointing towards the floor. So we're coming into that forward flexion, stretching into the lower back and into the back of the legs, coming slowly up. So you don't need to go all the way down. You can just maybe go halfway down. Let's do that one more time. Breathe in as you breathe out. Chin falls towards the chest and slowly coming back down. So one vertebrae at a time. Coming down only as far as you feel comfortable to come. So stay here, pull your abdominals in, just gently shake your head and nod your head, making sure you're not holding any tension in your neck. Try and feel relaxed across your shoulders and your chest. Breathing, let's come up again, nice and slowly, restocking. Shoulders down, away from your ears, look forwards. Now breathe in, reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Watch your backs here. If you can, just squeeze your glutes and take a very small baby back bend. Maybe just open your arms a little bit wider as we look towards the ceiling. Breathing in, bring your arms up overhead, look forwards and slowly bring your arms all the way down by your sides. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just slide your left hand down the side of your leg towards your knees, and right hand slides up the side of the rib cage. Breathing in, coming back up, both arms long, lengthen through your waist. As you breathe out, let's go the other side. So taking a side bend this time. So this is your lateral flexion. So we're stretching the sideways muscles, your oblique sideways muscles, as we're flexing the spine. Keep going with that. Optional now is come back up, stand nice and tall. As you breathe out, just start to reach your left arm wide to the side, like you'll reach your fingertips towards the side. We're just looking along your fingertips. Let the arm come down and straighten up. So the other hand still slides up the side of the rib cage. Now you'll reach your right fingertips towards the right side wall. And coming back up through centre and go again. Just reaching, try and press evenly into both of your feet. Let's do one more last one, a big stretch as you reach away. And bring the arm back down by your side. From the only walking forwards, because we're going into our squats now. So breathe in. As you breathe out, let's sit back and down. You don't need to go too deep. Make sure your sit bones are going back behind you. Really lighten your toes, pressing into your heels. Squeeze your glutes as you straighten your legs, stand nice and tall. And exhaling, sitting back and down. As if there's a chair behind you. Imagine you're just going to sit in that chair, then you change your mind, you press into your heels, straighten your legs, straighten your spine, and go again. So all you're doing is flexing at the hips, hinging the hips, bending the knees. Nothing else changes. The spine stays long, the neck stays in line with the spine. A little bit of a challenge now, if you want to. Let's reach forwards, let's fold the arms, take our arms into what we call our Cossack position. So your hands are resting on your elbows, just staying deep in that squat, and maybe sink a little bit deeper, do some little pulses. So squeezing the glutes, we'll do 10, 9, and 8. And so just pressing into your heels, strong in your glutes, 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Sink a little bit deeper if you can, and then breathe in. As you breathe out, press into your heels, come back up, stand nice and tall, reach your arms up towards the ceiling, breathing in. As you breathe out, reach your arms wide to the side, and bring your arms down by the side of your legs. So we're going to do a little bit of twist in the spine now, our bow and arrow. So still standing nice and tall, reach your arms forward now so they are shoulder distance apart, just in line with your chest, palms facing inwards. Breathe in. As you breathe out, bend your left elbow, follow the elbow with your eyes, just draw the left elbow back towards the wall behind you, but keep your hips reaching forwards. Breathing in, glide the arm back through, coming back to that same starting position. Exhaling, bend your right elbow, pulling it behind you. Just following the arm with your eyes, but try not to twist your hips. And breathing in, glide it back through. So just getting that gentle rotation in your spine. So just opening up the front of the shoulder and the chest as well. And that little gentle turn of the neck, a little bit of mobility into your neck. Keep the weight even in both of your feet again. Can we do one more of those each side? And work with your breath. That last time, your right elbow draws back. Reach up both of your arms forward. Let's breathe in again. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling and breathing out. Slowly circle your arms all the way around and down by your sides. So from there, we should be nice and warm in the spine now. Go to the end of your mat. Reset your posture, so making sure the heels are under your hips again, shoulder blades back and down. Just soften into your knees. Breathe in as you reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Bend your knees a little bit more. As you breathe out, pull your tummy in, navel to spine. Just come into a forward fold, bringing your chest towards your thighs, your arms towards the floor. Bend your knees a little bit more. And we're going to walk out onto the mat. And we're going to come into our tabletop position now. So here, just set yourself up, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Whenever we're doing this 4-point kneeling, so whenever we do our 4-point kneeling exercises, a lot of them, if you've got wrist issues, you can just come onto your forearms and work the legs only. If you're coming onto your forearms, your elbows need to be directly underneath your shoulders. If you're on your hands, your wrists are directly underneath your shoulders. Draw your shoulder blades back and down. And again, try not to tip the sit bones up or tuck them under. Find that neutral position again for your pelvis, which we found when we were standing. Draw your shoulder blades back and down and pull the abdominals in, so make that connection to your core. So from here, as you breathe in, slide your right leg along the floor, lift it up a little bit high, just in line with your hip. As you breathe out, tuck your chin in towards your chest, tuck your tail under, start to round the spine and draw your nose towards your knee underneath you. So you're really coming up into a cat stretch on one knee and two hands. Breathing in, let's lengthen the spine back into that starting position if you stretch the leg along behind you. And go again, same leg, exhaling, tucking the chin, tucking the tail, nose towards your knee. Try not to lean over to one side or the other. And then breathing, extend the leg away. Try not to lift it too high. Keep the balance across your hips and your shoulders. And let's go again. Tucking under. So I'm going to do 3 more like that. Scooping in, curling up. Just feel your spine gliding into that neutral position as your leg glides along behind you. Lengthen your spine into your neck. 2 more to go. So working with the breath, make yourself really tiny here if you can. Tail and chin tuck right under, and then feel the spine really lengthen and the leg as we come back. 1 more last one. Scooping in, curling up, and extend. Let's extend the leg away. That 1 more last time. Then bend the knee, put the knee on the mat underneath your hips. So we should be back in that tabletop position. Remember, on your forearms anytime you need to, because you've got the other leg to do now. Reset, connect to your core, pull your tummy in other words. Breathing in, let's slide the left leg along the floor and lift it, not too high. And then as you breathe out, tuck your chin in towards your chest, tuck your tail under, and rounding the spine, bring the nose towards the knee. And inhaling, just feel the spine lengthen as you extend the leg away again. And we've got 4 more to do. Tucking under, just gently pressing into your hands. So weight bearing through our upper body as well. So we're strengthening the muscles in our upper body and our bones as well. So anything we do that's weight bearing is really good for our bone strength as well as our muscles. How many was that? I always lose count. Let's do 1 more last one. Breathing in, tucking right under. Now breathing out. And as you breathe in, excuse me, and stretch the leg away. And then bend the knee, put the knee on the mat underneath your hip. Then just sit on your heels or high heel just to roll the shoulders, get some movement back into your shoulders, and you might want to circle your wrists as well. A few circles one way and then the other way. So from there, going to focus on the core strength again and mobility in the spine. So come towards the front end of the mat, so you're seated with your knees bent, knees and feet hip width apart. So again, that same alignment, so your heels, knees and hip bones are always in alignment in a neutral position. So make sure you're sitting really nice and tall with your shoulders over your hips, chest lifted again, ribs soften down towards your hips. Reach your arms forward so they're shoulder distance apart again, in line with your chest. This is where if you want, you can just pop a folded up towel or something behind your lower back as we roll back, just to give you a little bit of support, and if you feel you need it. Otherwise, a nice big in breath. As you do it, C-curve your spine, tuck your turban and just roll off your sit bones, just coming onto your very lower part of your back. Breathe in. As you breathe out, scoop the tummy in. Use your abdominals, coming back up, shoulders over your hips, rebuild the spine. So you can stay with that if you want to, just tucking and rolling back. Keeping the shoulders open wide, chest nice and wide, shoulders wide across your back. So use your breath, so exhale as we come down and up, inhale at the top and the bottom. Next time you tuck and roll, maybe you can just reach the arms wide to the sides. Breathe in. As you breathe out, pull the arms in towards each other and restack your spine and sit nice and tall. Big breath, breathing out, tuck and roll, scooping in, reaching wide, a bit of softness in the elbows here, and then slowly coming back on your next step. So you might now want to reach your arms up towards the ceiling without bringing your shoulders up towards your ears. On your exhale, reach your arms forward, tuck and roll, open your arms wide to the side. Breathe in. As you breathe out, scooping in, rebuilding your spine, and if you can, just reaching the arms up in line with your ears. And let's keep going with that. So really we're focusing on that core strength and mobility in our shoulders, in our spine. One more last one. Remember your options. You don't need, you can just keep your arms reaching forwards if you want to. One more last time. Let's come up. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Stay here. Breathe in. As you breathe out, circle your arms wide to the side and down by your hips. Just lengthen your legs a little bit there and just give your legs a little bit of a shake. So from there, we're going to come down onto our back. So come down nice and safely. You might want to just go over onto your side and come down, or put your hands on the mat behind you. Slowly lower yourself all the way down. And this is where, when we're lying down, looking up towards the ceiling, some of you might want to just pop a block or a folded up towel or that cushion underneath your head, just to support your neck when you're lying down. If you don't feel you need one, just have the back of your head resting on the floor, but never allow your head to tip up, so we're shortening the back of the neck. So we always need to keep our neck nice and safe. So keep the back of your head on the floor and your chin slightly tucked in. So from here, our knees are bent, and again, that same alignment, our heels, our knees, and our hip bones, or our sit bones, hip width apart. So find that neutral alignment, and just try and soften your front ribs down towards your hips, but keeping the shoulders and the chest wide open. It's the same sort of things that we were doing when we were standing, finding that neutral position. Arms light on the mat down by your sides. Let's find that neutral position for our pelvis. So just flatten your lower back onto the mat, then arch it away, like we did when we were standing, that tip and tilt of the pelvis, and then find that neutral position in between. So you should feel that your lower back is lengthened on the floor and you have that little space behind your lower back. So strong connection to your core. So now feel your abdominals pulling in or lifting up your pelvic floor. So making that connection to those deep core muscles to protect your back and to help you stabilize as well. So from there, nothing too challenging to start off with, but just lift the arms up towards the ceiling, but make sure that you didn't lift your shoulders off the mat. So press your shoulder blades down into the mat. So your arms are reaching towards the ceiling, shoulder width apart. So if you don't, just work the legs only if you don't want to work the arms. So breathe in. As you breathe out, just let your left knee drop towards the floor sideways. You're just coming onto the outside of your left foot without any movement in your pelvis. So don't take it too far towards the floor. Breathing in, pull it back in. Your foot goes flat on the floor, knee to ceiling. Exhaling, just let your right knee drop wide to the side. So only go to about 45-degree angle, but control the movement with your core muscles. Pull the knee back in. Let's add in the arms now. So as you let your left knee drop wide to the side, let your right arm go wide to the side, just towards the floor, sideways, more or less in line with your chest. Don't let it go all the way to the floor. Pull the arm back up as you pull the knee back in. So now we're going to drop the right knee towards the floor as your left arm goes back. Everything else stays completely still. And pull the arm back in as your knee comes back. So your arm goes wide to the side, your knee falls towards the floor. So your pelvis stays in that neutral position all the time. So make sure you're working with your breath and keep going with this. And one more last time with your right arm and your left knee. So always try and do the same amount of repetitions each side. So we're finishing off with the right knee and your left arm. So from here, some of you might just want to stay with that. Let's try a couple of doubles if you want to. Take both of the knees away from each other towards the floor, really opening up your hips, and take both of your arms wide to the side. Resist the floor. Pull the arms back up towards the ceiling as you pull the knees back in, feet go flat on the floor. And let's go again. Exhaling, arms open, knees drop towards the floor, arms pulling, knees pulling. Let's just do 2 more. So really nice mobility exercise through your shoulders, through your hips, working with your breath and your core strength. One more last time like that. And bring your arms up and your knees, and just let your arms rest on the floor down by your side just for a moment or two. Keep your feet exactly where they are. We're going to start lengthening the leg towards the bottom end of the mat as the opposite arm goes back towards the floor behind you. So reset. Now turn your palms into face your hips with your thumbs towards the ceiling. Still connected to that core, those core muscles, pulling the abdominals in, like you're trying to pull your navel in towards your spine. Breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to straighten the left leg towards the bottom end of the mat as your right arm stretches towards the floor behind you, no lower than the level of your ear. As you breathe in, pull the leg back in, put the foot back down next to your right foot where it came from, and then straighten your right leg. So your leg is just hovering off the floor, just gently pointing your toe as the arm goes back. Opposite arm, opposite leg. So you could slide the heel along the floor if you wanted to. That will give you a little bit more stability. Otherwise, we're just keeping the leg lengthened, hovering off the floor, pointing the toe as we extend it away and pull it back in. So you do not need to extend the leg fully. If you feel that your lower back starts to arch off the floor, only extend your leg as far as you can without any movement there in your lower back. So this is a really good exercise for focusing on using our core muscles to keep the pelvis completely still. So this is our last one. Let's do the right leg and the left arm. And bring the arm down by your side as the foot comes back in. So reset your alignment here. You can stay with that if you want to. If you want more of a challenge, so I will give you different levels for most of the exercises. Only if you feel you can support your back. Let's lift both of the legs up to a tabletop position. So immediately you should feel that really focus on your deep lower abdominal muscles with the feet off the floor. Knees should be over your hips, heels in line with your knees. So to work our core muscles, our deep lower abdominal muscles, we don't need to do anything. We can just lie here with the knees over the hips, heels in line with the knees, and we really need to feel that really working our core muscles there. But we're going to start to move now. So turn your palms in again to face your hips, thumbs to ceiling. Breathe in. As you breathe out, stretch your left leg away and take your right arm towards the floor behind you. Breathing in, bring the knee back in just over your hip, arm down by your sides, and stretch your right leg away. Don't let your lower back arch off the floor. And bring the knee back in over your hip as your arm comes down by your side. So nice, slow, controlled movements. Think about coordination, strength, mobility. Remember, go back to that first level if you need to, putting both feet on the floor and just keeping one foot on the floor all the time as you extend the other leg away. This is the next level up. So only take the leg as low towards the floor as you can without the lower back moving. If you feel your lower back arches, maybe just take your leg a little bit higher. Or if you can, just take it a little bit lower. So really focusing on breathing. Remember to breathe into your upper body, like you're breathing into the sides of your rib cage. We're nearly done. So really good for our core. Let's do one more each side. Hug your knees in towards your chest if you need a rest. Last time, we're nearly there. Right leg, left arm. then knees in, and then from there just hug your knees in towards your chest and take a gentle rock from side to side. So that will just allow the lower back to open and just a little bit of a massage of your lower back there on the mat. Now let's pop the feet on the floor. So we've done quite a lot of flexion into our hips, so bringing the knees in. So now we're going to open up the hips a little bit and work the back of the body in our shoulder bridge. So if you did put anything underneath the back of your head, just take it away now. So the back of your head's just resting on the mat. Keep your neck nice and long though. Same starting position for the bridge, except we walk our heels in nice and close towards your sit bones. So your heels should be about a hand distance away from your sit bones, but keep your heels in line with your hips. So from here, ready for your bridge, still in that neutral position. When you're ready, breathe in. As you breathe out, tuck your tailbone under, flatten your lower back into the mat. You squeeze your glutes and peel your spine away from the mat. So gently just pressing into your feet, maybe just pushing your knees forward. So you don't need to come up this high, only come up into your full bridge if you can. Breathe in. As you breathe out slowly, so we're imprinting the spine, like you're trying to melt your spine. One vertebrae at a time, back down onto the mat. So try not to press too much into your arms. So we're using the strength of the back, the glutes, working into our hamstrings as well. Coming up, try not to let the rib cage pop up here. So don't hyperextend, keeping the hip bones level all the way up and all the way down. So keeping that balance all the time on both sides of the body. Let's add in, you can just stay with that, but let's just add in an arm circle. So breathing out, let's come into our bridge, turn your palms in to face each other. As you breathe in, keeping the hips lifted, take your arms up and behind you, towards the floor behind you. As you breathe out, keeping the hips lifted, sweep your arms, nice big angel sweeps of the arms, bring them in towards each other till they're shoulder distance apart. Breathe in as you breathe out, roll down out of your bridge again. So we've just held that bridge while we did that arm circle. So really focusing on the strength in the back of the body, the glutes, hamstrings and core. Let's roll up again with your palms just facing inwards, coming up, so you don't need to stay up. As you breathe in, let's lift the arms up and behind you. Can we stay up and maybe do 2 arm circles now? So exhaling circles, circle the arms widen in. Breathing in, keep strong in your glutes. Don't get your hips sink towards the floor. One more last sweep of the arms wide and round and in. Breathe in as you breathe out, slowly coming back down again. So remember, these are only options. You don't need to do the arm circles. Let's come up one more last time, and guess what? Let's do 3 arm circles at the top. Only if you feel you can maintain this strong bridge position. If you can, come with me. Breathe in, let's float the arms back. And breathing out, pressing away through your hands and your arms. Bring your arms in, let's do 2 more. Just keep pressing into your feet, pressing into your shoulders. Only if you can keep this bridge, do 1 more last one. So really good for our strength in our backs. And sweep your arms round, breathe in. As you breathe out, slowly, slowly, slowly. Imprint your spine back down onto the mat, all the way down. And then again, just lift your feet off the floor one at a time. Bring your knees in. So again, just opening up the lower back. Just pin your knees and your feet together. Maybe just pop your hands on top of your knees. And let's just draw a few circles on the ceiling with the knees. Just going round and round. Just releasing your lower back, your hips, massaging them into the mat. And then maybe go the other way, reverse the direction of that circle. Just use your hands to gently guide. From there, put your feet back down on the floor one at a time. So again, put your head back on the block if you want to, folded up towel cushion, otherwise lengthen your neck again. Let's find that same neutral semi-supine, which means you're lying on your back with your knees bent, semi-supine neutral position. Find that same neutral position for your pelvis, so you might just want to do that little tip and tilt again, finding that position in between, so making sure we're in neutral. Strong core engagement here, so just again, pulling your abdominals in, or feel your pelvic floor, Lift up your pelvic floor. That's always an option. You get that same support, that same connection around your lower abdominals. So we're going to focus a little bit more now on the upper abdominals as well. So we're going to do some chest curls. So if you feel you're ready, lift your head off the floor, interlace your fingers, take your hands behind the back of your head, and then lower your head and your hands back down on the mat. Your elbows, don't let them rest on the floor here, just lift them slightly away from the floor so they're just above the level of your ears. So keeping the chest, the shoulders wide and open. So from here, breathe in. As you breathe out, we're just going to lift the head and shoulders off the mat, coming up. And breathing in, we're slowly going to come back down again. So keeping the elbows nice and wide, and try and keep your pelvis completely still in that neutral position. So just peeling the upper spine off the mat. And breathing in, coming back down again. So feel like you're scooping your abdominals in here as we lift. So if you're coming up, maybe you'll be able to come up onto the tips of your shoulder blades. Don't worry if you can't come up that high. Imagine you've got a little soft peach tucked underneath your chin here. So you're keeping that space in between your chin and your chest. You don't want to squash the peach, but you don't want to lose it either. So just coming up on your exhale and coming down on your inhale. So generally, to speak, we use the exhale on the effort. So the biggest effort we breathe out, and the lesser effort, normally we would breathe in Pilates. But remember to breathe into the sides and the back of your rib cage. If you want a little bit more, let's lift the feet off the floor one at a time and find that tabletop position for your legs again. Knees over hips, heels in line with your knees. So we're just recruiting, again, a little bit more into those deep lower abdominals as we do our chest curls. We're not going to move the legs, we're just going to keep them as they are, knees sitting over your hips, heels in line with your knees. Keep scooping in and working with your breath. Rest anytime you need to. We're only going to do 3 more. And 2 more. So we always make the last one as good as the first one. So never let yourself fatigue so much that you start to falter. And slowly coming back down. One at a time. If your feet are off the floor, put your feet on the floor. Reach your arms along behind you. Let them rest on the mat. Slide your heels away and straighten your legs. So just point your toes. Take a full body stretch. So you can press your shoulder blades down into the mat and let your back arch off the mat. Make yourselves as long as you can be. Now breathe in. As you breathe out, pull your arms up towards the ceiling and let your arms rest lightly on the mat down by your sides, and then slide your feet in one at a time and roll over onto one side. It is irrelevant which side you roll over onto because, of course, we will work both sides. So lying all the way down, we're going to bend the knees. So we're going to first of all work with both of the knees bent, but we need to find a really good alignment when we're lying down on our side. So again, we're balanced across both sides of the body. So bend your knees and try and sort of line your spine up with the back side of your mat, and then your heels and your sit bones also. So heels, sit bones and your shoulders should all be in a nice alignment there. Look forward so your neck is in line with your spine. We need to find a little space underneath our sideways so our spines are dipping towards the floor. So if you can, just put your top hand on your top hip. Push your top hip towards your feet so you're stacking your top hip directly over your bottom hip there, and that should allow you to find a little space, a little mouse hole underneath your sideways. So from here, just make sure your shoulders are away from your ears, so your shoulders are stacked too. Put your hand on your hip. You can lengthen your arm and rest your hand on your hip, or you can just rest your fingertips lightly on the floor if you feel you need a little bit more support. So from here, again, making that connection. So draw the abdominals in, and now we're just going to lift the top leg away from the bottom leg. So you've got a hip distance apart between your top leg and your bottom leg. So we're going to keep the shape of the top leg the same, Breathe in. As you breathe out, just bring the knee forwards in towards your chest, not too close. Keep everything still. Breathing in, just bring the leg back until the knees are in alignment again. And then on your exhale, we're going to lift the knee and the foot up towards the ceiling. And breathing in, bringing that leg back down, just so the legs are hip width apart again. Exhale, knee comes forward. Inhale, it comes back in. Exhale, so your knees are in alignment here as you lift the leg up. And lower back down again. And go again. Exhale forward, so we're hinging from the hip, flexing your hip. Coming back in. And then up and down. Try and relax your top foot. And your bottom leg is switched off. It's gone to sleep. That shouldn't be doing anything at all. So we're just going to keep going with that. You rest if you need. We're going to do 8 repetitions. So the leg might start to feel a little bit heavy. You might start to feel a little bit of a burn in your hips and your glutes. But that's because we're really challenging. We're working our hips and our glutes here. Don't forget to breathe. Remember when we're breathing into our ribs. And last time, forwards and back, and then up and down. Now, if you can keep going, just stretch that top leg away. Make it as long as you can. So keeping that space under your side waist. Lift the leg up a little bit higher. Just check when you look down, you can see your toes. Softly point your toes. Breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to circle that top leg round and round as if you're doing circles on the wall in front of that leg with your toes. Going nice and slowly. So we're going to do 8 each way. So now we're getting that rotation around your hip socket. 3 more to go like that. And then put the brakes on when your leg's at the top of your last circle then, and going the other way. If it becomes too much, just bend your knee and draw circles in the air in front of you with your knee. Otherwise, keep going with those circles. Let's do 3 more in the opposite direction. Keep the leg really long out of your hip. Really probably feeling that in your glutes and your hips by now. When you've done your last one, bend your top knee and bring it forwards, rest it on the mat, and try and roll your top hip forwards as well, so we can really release off those muscles in our glutes and our hips. So now, of course, we need to do the other side. So either come up to, you might easily just be able to roll on over onto your other side, otherwise come up to seated and just make yourself comfortable on your other side. And again, just take a moment or two. So always think about really good posture and alignment when we're doing Pilates. So we really try and feel a really good balance in both sides of the body. So always trying to work in symmetry. So again, bending your knees, heels towards your sit bones, sit bones and shoulders in alignment, head on your bicep. You can always put your head on a cushion if you want, or bend your elbow. Remember to find your little mouse hole before we start. So stack your hips, top hip over your bottom hip, stack your shoulders so you've got that space in between your ear and your shoulder. Connect to your core, so again, just pull in your abdominals, and then we're just going to lift the top leg away from the bottom leg. Keep the shape of the leg exactly the same. Breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to bring the knee forwards in towards your chest, and as you breathe in, just bring the knee back until your knees are in alignment, still hip distance apart. Then exhaling, lifting the knee and the foot up towards the ceiling, and breathing in, bringing them back hip width. And exhale forward, and inhale back in, and exhaling up, and inhaling down. So try and keep your chest, your shoulders relaxed, wide and open, and relax your foot, top foot, and switch your bottom leg off. That's already done a lot of work, so giving it a rest. Keep going, we've got 3 more sets to do. Or rest if it becomes too much anytime. There's quite a lot of work through your glutes and hips, so if you're not used to working these muscles, might be quite challenging for you, so just do a lesser amount of repetitions if you need to. So one more last one, for luck, and lift up and bring it down just a hip like that. Stretch your top leg away, look down, make sure you can see your toes, lift your toes, Softly point your toes, make your leg a little bit longer, maintaining that space underneath your side waist. Lift the leg up so it's a little bit higher than hip height. Breathe in as you breathe out. Let's start to draw those circles. So we're going to do 8 each way. Nice, smooth, round, even circles. Stretching the leg long out of your hip. And again, bend the knee if you need to. If it becomes too much easier doing your knee circles, but you still get that same rotation around your hip socket. So your thigh bone is just circling around that hip socket. Let's go the other way. Unwind. Keep everything else nice and still. Don't hold your breath. So really good for oiling the hip socket here. So remember, when we move the joints, we get fluid coming into the joints, keeping them nice and supple. And let's do one more last one. And then when you've done your last one, bend your top knee, bring it forwards, let it rest on the mat and release off around your hips and into your glutes. From there, let's just come up onto our hands and knees again. So just come up onto your hands and knees, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, lengthen your spine. Breathe in. As you breathe out, tuck your tailbone around the spine. Let's scoop the tummy in and come into a cat stretch. So this time we've got both of the knees on the floor, so a little bit easier. Breathe in as you breathe out. Tip your sit bones up towards the ceiling. Dip your spine. Slide your shoulder blades down, lift your chest and your head, and go again the other way. So try and start with your tail, tuck your tailbone under first of all, and feel that movement flow up away, all the way up your spine. And last of all, you tuck your chin in towards your chest. Breathe in as you breathe out. Start with your sit bones, tip them up, then let your belly dip towards the floor. Your shoulder blades slide down, we lift the chest and look forwards again. Let's do one more of those each way. So try and keep your legs and your arms still, just moving the spine, and of course the neck, remembering always the neck is an extension of the spine. So finishing in your cow pose, extending the spine, then lengthen back into neutral. From there, just take your knees a little bit wider than your hips, pull your feet together, take your sit bones back towards your heels, and lower your head down towards the floor. Let your forehead or the crown of the head, if you can, rest on the floor. And then sweep your arms round and down by your side. So now we're in a full child's pose. It's a relaxation position. So try and switch everything off. Feel your shoulders wide across your back. If that's not for you, just take your hands in front of you. Stack your hands and rest your forehead on your hands. If your sit bones don't reach your heels, you can always put a cushion between your bottom and your heels. Otherwise, just try and relax it. Just take a breath or two there. Just try and switch for every single muscle in your body. So your belly is just dropping in between your legs there. You can bring your knees in a little bit closer if that's not comfortable. And just breathe. So child's pose is a lovely way to switch off. But we can't stay here for too long, so bring your hands in front of your knees, bring your knees in slightly so they're hip width apart, take your feet a little bit wider so they're hip width apart, back into that tabletop position, tuck your toes under, walk your hands to your knees, lift your knees off the floor, walk your hands to your feet, keep your feet bent in the knees if you've got back issues, otherwise bring the chest towards your thighs, just straighten your legs slightly, keep the soft bend in your knee, breathe in as you breathe out, use your abdominals again, pulling the tummy in, let's slowly restep the spine. So we're coming all the way up to a standing position. So from there, keep your heels underneath your hips, breathe in as you breathe out, let's roll down again. So you should find this so much easier than it was at the beginning of the class. You should have more length in the spine, warm the muscles in the backs of the legs, bend your knees a lot if you need to. Stay here, just a gentle shake of the head and nod of the head, big bend to the knees if you need to. Breathe in as you breathe out, let's come back up, nice and slowly, restacking your spine. Don't rush. And from that big roll of the shoulders, reach your arms up towards the ceiling, soften into your knees, bending your knees. Breathe in as you breathe out, we're going to come into our ragdoll. So sweep your arms down and sweep up. So exhaling, sweep down and inhaling, reaching up. Keep going, big bend in the knees, maybe just brushing the floor with your fingertips. Keep strong in your core, keep your tummy pulled in. Let's do one more last one, a big wake up. Let's push down, reach up and take a really big stretch at the top. Reach from your fingertips all the way down to your heels. Lifting, lifting, lifting a little bit higher. Breathe in. As you breathe, turn your palms outwards. Maybe spread your fingers and press away through your hands and your arms as you slowly bring your arms all the way around and down by your sides. Relax your wrists, roll your shoulders, shake out your legs. Well done, everybody. Thank you for joining my class today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again next week, maybe. Take care. If you want to ask me anything, I'm happy if you want to ask me a question or so before we go. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Karen. That was good.
Good. Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.